A scientific research area in the mountains of Pusan has encountered a problem. This is not the first time this has happened. People soon distrusted the government's rhetoric. A driver was trying to get his phone, due to not looking, caused the car to hit an animal. He got out of the car to see it was a deer. The driver said he was unlucky and got in the car again, at which point something strange happened. The deer that was stabbed to death suddenly stood up, but its eyes were only white. Sakwu is a manager at a financial company. He is divorced from his wife. His wife lives in Pusan. His daughter's name is Suah. Because Sakwu is busy with work, he can't pay much attention to his daughter, so the father and son are not close. Today, I was watching the news online when I saw that a strange disease was spreading. He is a person who only looks at interests. For such news he does not care. Today is Suah's birthday and he gave his daughter a set of video games. But the most recent holiday he gave his daughter the same set of games. This further clarifies the distance between father and son. Suah tells him that wants to find his mother. He intends to refuse, but Suah says will go by himself, so he can only agree. The next day the two men prepared to board the train, when on the way they saw a big burning building. They arrived and began their journey, each already in their place, but they didn't know what was waiting for them. On this train, the train staff is waiting for the last people. Suah sees a person being pushed out of the window. Suah wants to tell her father, but because he is so tired, he falls asleep. There was not only one person hiding on the train. In the toilet there was a man sitting with his mouth constantly muttering, "All will die, all will die." In another car, there was a girl who was giving first aid to her own wound, saying sorry non-stop, then stepped out of the toilet, staggered and fell down. Staff on board immediately rushed to help. The employee called the captain, but the other girl suddenly stood up with an unusual look, her angry eyes biting on the employee's neck. This girl has turned into a zombie. The people on the train did not have time to react. The zombie rushed to bite everyone. They rushed to run away, but still someone was bitten. The disease spread extremely quickly. Sakwu immediately hugged his daughter and ran away. But in this train, he can't run away. Zombies are more and more crowded inside the train. Sang-hwa was guarding the door for his wife to go to the toilet when he saw someone being bitten. His wife immediately asked him to help, but these zombies gave him a bad premonition. Sakwu and Suah got in safely, with the couple trapped behind. Other passengers urged him to quickly close the door to isolate the couple outside. The zombies screamed and banged on the door. The wife used newspaper to stick it on the glass. The zombies couldn't see it and became silent. Sang-hwa reprimands Sakwu for closing the door on a whim. But Sakwu did not mean to apologize. The wife intervened to avoid a fight. At this time, everyone received a notification about the epidemic. Sakwu called home. His mother was also infected. She said that she loved father and son before she died. He was sad and thinking he couldn't let anything happen to himself and his daughter. The train has reached the next station. There are people following the train outside. Here was also infected, people outside screaming for help and being bitten by zombies. At this time, the government reports that the disease is spreading and is difficult to control. The ships should continue to move. Everywhere there was chaos. The passengers moved to the front. Suah gives up her seat to an old woman, but Sakwu is not satisfied with the action. He said Suah should take care of herself right now. On the train, it was announced that the next destination was Dashan. When the ship arrives where everyone needs to move quickly, the army will come to stop the zombies. Sakwu called his friend in the army, and was told that once he got off the train he would be quarantined. Sakwu used stocks to buy off his friend so that he and his daughter wouldn't be quarantined. There was a man overheard that phone call. When the train arrived at the station, everyone got off and watched carefully. Sakwu took his daughter to a prearranged spot, and the man followed them. At this point, Suah tells her father to notify the others about the quarantine, and Sakwu stops Suah. He said that it's okay for father and son to live together. Suah cried and said, "It's because dad is always like that, that's why mom left." Sakwu just kept quiet. Everyone ran to the door and saw the army that had turned into zombie rushed to bite them. This place is no longer safe. Just when Suah was about to be attacked, Sang-hwa was in time to save her. When everyone withdrew from here, Seok-woo was pushed down by the zombie. He took the book and put it in its mouth. At the time of danger, the other man used a cloak on zombie's head to help he escape. Everyone used their strength to hold the door to block the zombies. Some people ran up to a train car, safe here for the time being. And Seok-woo is still nowhere to be seen. At this time there was a contradiction. A man did not want to wait and wanted the train to run immediately. The female student did not agree because she wanted to wait for her friend. After arguing, it was decided to let the train run. At this time, just closed the door, the zombies came running again. The train has moved, some people are bitten by zombies. These three guys risked their lives to follow and get on the train. Soo-ah and wife of Sang-hwa are stuck in another train car, where there are zombies on both sides. They could only hide in the toilet. She informed her husband of the current location and situation. They support each other to fight zombie. Just entered this train, the male student discovered that his friend had turned into a zombie. Seok-woo and Sang-hwa support each other to fight the zombies. The very aggressive zombies overwhelm the two of them. Right when the train entered the tunnel in the dark, the zombies were silent. Seok-woo used sound to attract the zombies. The three make it to the next train car, and Seok-woo uses his cell phone to lure them in to find a way to meet Soo-ah. The female student received a message from her friend, informing that her friend was about to return. But this man was angry and said, maybe they were infected, so they didn't let him in. The female student looked at everyone, she could feel the cold, emotionless eyes. Seok-woo and the others took advantage of the time they were in the tunnel to go through the zombies. This uncle slipped, but Seok-woo caught it. As soon as the train came out of the tunnel, everyone hid behind the seats and prepared to run away. Zombie chased, they risked their lives to run as fast as possible, but the door was not closed. Sang-hwa forcefully blocked the door. On the other side, people used their shirts to tie the door. Sang-hwa asked the male student to use a stick to break the door. He himself was bitten by a zombie on his hand. The other male student was able to knock on the door and run in, but this man closed the other door. Sang-hwa asks Seok-woo to lead his wife away. Sang-hwa turns around smiling and stops the zombies. He kept his sanity to protect his loved ones until the last moment. The male student and Seok-woo used all their strength to open the door. He rushed to beat the other man for stopping them. He said they were infected, their eyes were white and they looked like zombies. So, using cloth to tie the door, this old woman saw her sister turn into a zombie and then looked at the people on the train cursing a sentence, "Scum people." She opened the door for the zombies to burst in and kill them all. Those people just isolated the other group of people who did not expect to harm themselves. Seok-woo called to know that Busan was safe, and also learned that this epidemic was caused by the company he used to help. At this point he broke down. The train was moving when it hit the wreckage and couldn't continue. Seok-woo and the others got off the train. The other man and the train staff hid in the toilet. The employee was pushed by the man outside the zombie crowd, and he ran away. Another burning train rushed to block the way. The male student and his friend broke the door to get out, but the other man pushed her to the zombies, and he broke the door to escape. The male student was able to beat the zombies, but his friend was bitten. The male student was sad and crying. At this time, the other man was chased by zombie. He took advantage of the captain's kindness and then threw heat to the zombies. An ungrateful evil man like him still exists. At this time, Seok-woo woke up to find that he was full of zombies. He found a gap to help Swag and a girl get out. But the zombies broke through the door. The uncle sacrificed himself to help everyone escape. They ran to another ship. The zombies chased right behind. There was one that clung to the stern of the ship, and so on. The other zombies clung to it to form a long tail. Seok-woo tried to kick them off. The faster the train went, the faster they were cut off. On the ship the other man turned into a zombie. Seok-woo protected everyone so he was bitten by him. Seok-woo kicked him under the train. Knowing that I was about to turn into a zombie, he brought the two of them into the cockpit, instructing Sang-hwa's wife how to stop the train when counting stations. Tell daughter to obey her. Soo-ah sobs and won't let him leave. Seok-woo is finally aware of his responsibility to everyone. He got out of the cockpit and cried loudly. Suak's best memories emerge. He gives up on himself and falls under the train. The train reaches Busan. The girl and Suak help each other into the tunnel. Here, the army was about to open fire when Suak sang, and the two were finally saved.